Welcome to The Right Focus, a podcast for writers, newbies, and veterans, and everyone in between. We're hosted by M.A. Lee with the assistance of Remy Black and Edie Rooms, all from Writers Inc. Books. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Each episode lasts as long as it takes to fix a quick dinner, drive a short commute, or take a brisk walk. Resources and links are in the show notes. Visit us at therightfocus.blogspot.com. Now, on to this week's episode. Welcome to our mid-July week for the Summer Writing Challenge. Our interview introduces Ron Katz, who brands his mysteries as the Silver Sleuths. We open with a quick tip on Antagonists and close with a check-in. We're burning ahead of our goal, which is always a good place to be. On to the episode. Quick tip number 7. Really have great antagonists. First, be global with your main antagonist. Having an institution as an antagonist will strengthen your protagonist. Defeating the institution will seem impossible. Defeating each minion of the antagonist should give a key to unlock the walls guarding the institution. The institution might be short-term planning and merely needs persuasion to be overcome. Or it's long-term planning, which needs a takedown. The protagonist can enlist a counter-institution or release devastating information. The institution may not be defeated and destroyed completely. It could be blocked, caged, or weakened. And the institution may become the major antagonist for the whole series of books you decide to write. And be willing to have minor antagonists. Besides the major antagonist, you will need minor ones more local than the mastermind. Make each minor antagonist more difficult to defeat as the story progresses. Minor antagonists can be minions of the major antagonist, or they can work independently. An independent bad guy is certainly an unexpected twist. Minions take various forms. Most are simply pawns, following orders without considering consequences. Some are scary evil, working for the antagonist because they enjoy evil. A few are reluctant, compelled by circumstance, or coerced by the major antagonist to maintain that alliance. These characters offer great opportunities for angst. The best minions have plans to step in when the major antagonist falls. When we have this minion, we have the chance to kill off the major antagonist at the 75% mark of the book, only to have the replacement step up and be more evil. Why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners?
Okay, my name is Ron Katz. I was a trial lawyer back in the day, and then I was at a program at Stanford for older people, and I started being a mystery writer at age 74. And I write about a baby boomer detective couple called the Sleuthing Silvers, Barb and Bernie Silver.
That's a good title. And so, how do you view challenges in your writing?
Well, the main challenge when you write short stories is monetizing them.
Yes. Yeah.
In my opinion. There's just not much of a market for short stories. It's very competitive. Pay is horrendous. And, of course, I'm not doing it to make a living. I'm retired, but if I did do it to make a living, I'd be starving to death.
That's pretty much me. When I saw my retirement approaching, I was going like, well, what are you going to do after retirement? And I thought, well, I will finally pursue my dream of writing. So that's what I did. And then a couple of years back, I thought, well, maybe I need to branch out because I had been doing novels. And so I tried to write a short story. The first short story that I wrote was 17,000 words long.
That's not a short story.
It's a novella.
Exactly. And then the second one was 12,000 words. And I thought, I'm going in the right direction, but I don't have an idea. So I actually found Lester Dent's plot formula, and I had to really study it um, to figure out exactly how I was going to relate what he was saying to the way that I handle stories. So do you have anything like that that you had to teach yourself or figure out how to do?
Well, they say write what you know. So I'm writing about baby boomers, and I've been a baby boomer my whole life. So I found writing these stories to be quite easy. They're character driven. So I don't have a full outline or anything else. I just, I have an idea,
Mhm.
concept, and then the characters sort of take over.
Right.
So, that's really hasn't been a problem for me. And I've had some success. I mean, I have 5,400 followers on Facebook, for
That's
example.
good.
I collect 16 of the stories in a book, and the book is selling now. I got a good review
Mhm.
from Kirkus Reviews, which is a known reviewer. Uh, and I've written a screenplay from the first story. I've written a screenplay because that's really the best way to monetize.
Right.
And that screenplay has gotten recognition at a number of different screenplay contests.
Mhm.
But, it's a long process. And, I'm seven, now I'm 79 years old. So I don't know. I don't know who's going to last longer, this process or me.
Well, you just have to keep plugging away at it.
Well, I enjoy it. I mean, like a lot of people, especially, I guess you're an example. You do it in retirement, you do it for pleasure.
Mhm.
So the journey is its own reward.
Yes, 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 it is. And I'm constantly, I have always, I used to say to my students that humans are wired in two ways, for curiosity, and the second one is for amiability, being social and communicating with people. And I think writing allows you to do both of those. It allows you to pursue your own curiosity about a particular topic or about the depth of characters or something of that nature. And it allows you to dig more deeply into behavior of people. And then, of course, you want to entertain your readers, and so you're looking for the best way to be to get that across to them. Um, so I find that very, very helpful. How else do you view challenges in your writing?
Well, it's a solo experience, and then I hate criticism, so that's always difficult. But usually it's helpful. I show the drafts to my wife and to my friends. Uh, Oftentimes something is clear to me, but it's not at all clear to them. So that
Mhm.
those are the most helpful comments. Uh, it's quirky. What I'm doing is quirky. It's not something that you see all the time. And now there's a few things that are aimed toward the more the elder market. There's Only Murders in the Building with Steve
Mhm.
Martin, and recent one with Ted Danson called A Man on the Inside. So I think advertisers are starting to wake up to the potential of the baby boomer market.
Mhm.
But generally the wisdom is that you write for the demographic between 18 and 49. So that's a challenge. But I don't know about the demographic between 18 and 40. I mean, I'm going to write what I'm going to write. And
Yes.
I have the luxury to do that. And I'm trying to get feedback from the real world in order to make progress in that in the real world. And we'll see. So far there has been some progress, but it's of course, I thought I should be awarded a major prize, after the first story, but it doesn't work that way. And
No,
that's
unfortunately, it does not.
yeah, you
Uh,
have to suffer. I'm a suffering artist, so that's good.
that's supposed to make us better writers, doesn't it? Uh, that we're supposed to bleed a little bit before we write our stories.
Well, it's interesting that you say writing is social because I would say the opposite. I would say writing is very isolated experience. You're alone with your
Hmm.
computer. That's it. You do seek feedback and things of that sort, but I have a muse. I mean, I didn't. I think that the concept of muse is valid.
Mhm.
I have a muse, and I want to write certain things, and I'm hopeful that within my lifetime, those certain things will become attractive to people who have money. So we'll see. The way you can't read anything about successful authors without reading, I was rejected 79 times and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Yeah. Rejection is just part of the business.
Yes.
And, it's something either you want to do it or you don't want to do it, and right now I want to do it. And
Right.
I enjoy it. And I enjoy it, and I enjoy speaking to other authors like yourself. We share an experience.
Yes. And we have that common writing angst that we bring with us to conversations that we can share with people. And we're always searching for new ideas and new ways to do things. And we're constantly looking. I wish there were a way to get the words onto the page the way I want the words to be on the page more quickly. Uh, I'm struggling through a novella right now, and it's not moving as rapidly as I would like it to move. I feel like I'm getting one chapter per week, and I would like to do like 2.5 chapters per week, and it's just not happening.
Well, I don't have that problem because my stories are about 5,000 words long.
Mhm.
So I can knock out the first draft in a week.
Yes. Mhm.
And, maybe there's 10 or 20 drafts that will follow that. But I don't think I could do what you do. I don't have any struggle against length. I have the opposite. Sometimes my stories aren't quite long enough. So
Mhm.
5,000 words seems to be about right for my audience. I get a lot of very nice feedback on Facebook, but of course, as a unknown author, I had to offer my works for free at
Mhm.
first. So, people on Facebook, you get a lot of feedback, and it's wonderful to hear from your readers. That's one of the great virtues of Facebook. But again, now I'm at the stage where I would like to get more recognition and more
Mhm.
monetization, and we'll see if that happens. I haven't. I'm a long way from giving up. I'm going to keep doing this. I enjoy it, and I believe that someday the stars will align.
That's exactly right. Okay, so the theme of this series that this episode will be in is challenges. Did you face any challenges with when you were developing your characters? Did they turn on you or change in ways that you were unexpected for you? Or had you been mulling them in your head for a long time and then when they came out onto page, they were full blown?
Well, the main people I know are baby boomers, and those
Mhm.
have been the main people I've known my whole life. So
Mhm.
most of my characters are just composites of people that I know. It actually, in a way, takes very little creativity because I'm just creating them from real life. Although, the result is a character that never existed. It's a
Right.
composite.
Mhm.
But that part has not been a challenge for me.
Anything else that you think of that would fit the theme?
Of challenges,
Yes.
I think age is a challenge, or a lot of people would think of age as a
Mhm.
challenge. Uh, most of my peers are not starting new careers. In fact, none of them are.
Mhm.
But age, is just a number, as they say. And so I don't really, if I thought I was old, I probably wouldn't be doing this.
Mhm.
Uh, but I have to acknowledge the fact that there are some other people who do think I'm old, like the rest of the world.
That's true.
And
I
that's
think,
okay. That's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah, the rest of the world, Hollywood in particular, uh, they do view the younger demographic as where they gear things to. But I hope that, as you mentioned earlier, with the series that you were talking about, I hope they're starting to realize that it is those who are in our silver ages that we have more disposable income in the current economy than the young people who are struggling to make their place in the world and find a place where they can settle down and start to raise a family. And all their money is going into that effort. And so it's restricting them on money that they're devoting to entertainment. They might spend money on quick entertainment, but they might not necessarily spend $15 to go to the movie theater, or money that they would expend per month on a subscription to like Netflix. I know several friends of my nephew who is in the younger demographic that, they cut out a lot of spare expenses because they just could not afford it. Their parents had paid for it while they were in college and for a couple of years when they got out into the world at large. But then when their parents, sort of cut the apron strings, they had to pay for it themselves. And so that really cut into their disposable income. Whereas those of us who are and retired, we do have a little bit more disposable income than that younger demographic that things usually are geared toward. So I think Hollywood would behoove them to start aiming things toward the older demographics.
Well, I share your belief, but the older demographic has some deficits too. I mean, I think that my original hope was that this would go viral.
Oh, mhm.
I actually have a presentation called Becoming a Mystery Writer at age 74, and I've given it at several retirement communities, and it's uniformly well received. And as I say on Facebook, I get a lot of positive reinforcement. But if you want something to go viral, it's probably better if you are targeting like teenage girls because they're much more proficient with the internet, and they live their lives on the internet. Our demographic doesn't do that. So, there's pluses and minuses. Clearly it's the biggest or one of the biggest demographics. It's certainly the most affluent demographic, but it's not the most dynamic demographic.
Right, right. Okay, thank you for agreeing to this interview. Is there anything that you would like to promote? This episode will probably air somewhere around in the early part of July this summer.
Well, my book, which is called Baby Boomer Detectives in a Millennial World, is on Amazon under my name as author, obviously. And, it'd be great if people could take a look at that and see if they're interested.
Great, great. And that information is in your bio that you sent me, correct?
Yeah, they can go to there's a website for the Sleuthing Silvers, which is thesleuthingsilvers.com. So everything that you would want to know about the Sleuthing Silvers, but we're afraid to ask, is on that website.
Great. Anything else?
No, thank you very much, Emily. It's a noble effort.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Same to you.
On to our 7th check-in, covering July 9 to 15. Are we midway through the challenge? At the start of the week, our word count is 36,367. That's ahead of half of 65,000 words. What did we accomplish this week? Wednesday, July 9, started Chapter 3, the draft of it, 625 words. Thursday, finished Chapter 3, 1,647 words. Friday, July 11, into Chapter 4, 1,736 words. Saturday, July 12, Chapter 4 finished and Chapter 5 started, 1,965 words. And Sunday, July 13, Chapter 5 finished with 681 words. Monday, July 14th, a massive, massive day, catching up on the podcast. 3,200 words. Hard day of work. And on Tuesday, July 15, errands, working on websites, lots of tweaks that have to rotate with posts and things like that, but very little advancement. So, 9,857 words for the week when we needed 49.49. Actual words required 31,815, and the actual word count 46,224, well ahead of the required. Even when I'm not counting draft words down to 1,000 new words per chapter, that's 41,224 words, still far ahead of 31,815 required. Thanks for listening to The Write Focus, a podcast for writers at all levels, hosted by Emma Lee from Writers Inc. Books, assisted by Remy Black and Edie Runes. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Music is licensed through Audio Jungle, called Background Music Loop. Its creator is Alexander Polishchuk, known on Audio Jungle as Plastic 3. The music comes in different iterations. Show notes and resource links for this and other episodes can be found at thewritefocus.blogspot.com. Write to us at winkbooks@aol.com when you have questions, comments, and speculations. We will try to answer you as quickly as possible. By the way, we will not mind your email address. That's rude. If you find value in our content, share with your writing friends or write a review. We're small beans here without the advertising budget of the big peeps, and you can make a difference. And whatever occurs, write on.